Matt, welcome to the Rain or Shine podcast. I was just saying before we started recording that I've actually been following you on Instagram for many years. I've known of your agency, but never really got to know where you live or, where even the business was based. So I was pleasantly surprised to find out that you are a fellow Canadian entrepreneur and really excited to dig into how you got into this, where you guys are at today, and to pick your brain because my audience knows I'm very passionate about search engine optimization. And now, how do we get our businesses to show up in AI engines? And I think it's this like mystical, complex world that you are really good at simplifying. So, officially, welcome to the show.
Oh my God, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to chat. Your energy is just like so good.
Oh, well, I love podcasting and I'm a very curious person. So let's get into the first set of questions. These are always rapid fire, just for fun, nothing to do with like super technical stuff. But as an agency owner, I can imagine you have busy weeks, you have lots of clients. How do you like to unwind when you're finished your work at the end of a long week?
Uh, is this rapid fire? Because this is like a very long, I could
Tell
give a
us the
very
big
long
ritual.
explanation. Um, I don't know. Have a few drinks, make a nice meal, go out to eat. Could be anything.
I love it. Oh, get granular. What do you like to drink? And then what kind of meal are you pairing it with? Like, inspire me here.
Mm. Yeah, I like that's a great question. Like every week is so different that I'm just like there's no like actual ritual every single week. I like a nice glass of red wine. Like and also because of everything that's happening in the US, I've been trying a lot more local wines, which I'm
Mm.
surprised like wow, these things are actually so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it fun? We do have so many wineries. Like I was just mentioning to you that I live in kind of the Brant County, Norfolk area.
Yeah.
And there's actually a lot of wineries like within an hour and breweries within an hour to 2 hour distance. So I'm like,
Yeah.
why am I going to buy a California bottle when there's literally good stuff? I think we just have it in our head. Sometimes it's not as good if it's made in Ontario, but I
Yeah.
actually think it's better.
I moved last year to the Niagara region and there's like 100 wineries.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Incredible.
oh, I had no idea. And now it's just like, every couple of weeks we go to another one and, have a couple glasses of wine and try it. It's amazing.
Oh, that sounds so nice. What is maybe one of the most unexpected or unusual jobs that you ever worked or had before you started Hey Tony Agency?
Oh, that's a great question. So, before I even got into marketing, I was a process server.
What is
Do you know
that?
what that is? Okay. So a process server is where you have to deliver like court documents to people who are avoiding, or not even necessarily avoiding, but like it's like, okay, well, you're getting a divorce or you haven't paid your child support. Here's like your summons or whatever the thing is. And I'm the third party that would confirm that that person got like their legal documents.
That is so
Isn't that
random
crazy?
and so interesting. I'm a big believer, and over the past 400 episodes of this show, we've often talked about how our past careers and jobs actually sometimes teach us lessons that we bring into our current path. Did you learn anything from being a process server that like has stuck with you all these years?
I think so. I think it's like, and nobody's ever asked me that, and I haven't talked about the process server side of things, but I like this is back in the like, not really like crazy Wi-Fi days and all this kind of stuff, but I got scrappy and I was like, well, I can't go home to print this stuff because like the office that I'm like delivering stuff to, I have to confirm is like all this way away, and I'm going like an hour away. I don't have time to stop at home to print this stuff out. So I like set up my car with like an inverter and like a printer in the car with like a laptop and like had to hack this whole thing together. And I'm like, that's basically how you run a business. You're just like, how can I figure out to do this more efficiently? Right?
Yeah, that's like mic drop moment. It's like if you're not asking yourself that question, then you're probably not gonna, continually advance. You have to get more
Yeah.
efficient, offload, delegate.
You
How
have
can
to
I
be
be
scrappy.
better? Be scrappy. Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. So good. Okay, so now I want to know how the heck, this is kind of a loaded question. How did you get into marketing in the first place? Who inspired you? What was that catalyst job? What got you interested in pursuing this path?
So it's kind of an accident. I actually went to school, like to college for heating and cooling, dropped out after the first year because it's like, I can't see myself doing this for 30, 40 years.
I love it.
Took a year off, started a band, And while I was in that band, my parents were like, you have to go back to school for something, like go back to college, like we'll pay for you to go. And I was like, I don't want to go. I want to try my own thing. And then like they kind of not gave me an ultimatum, but were like, you have to. And I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to choose a program that's going to benefit the band. And that was advertising. I was like, that sounds good. I
Ah.
could learn stuff how to advertise this band. But then when I was in school for it, I was like, oh, I actually really like this. It's a whole other creative outlet. Um, and even like when I was in the band, I was always like trying to figure out like how do I start my own business? Like how do I make my own money and not work somewhere else? Because I don't like working for other people, which is ironic because running an agency, you have a bunch of clients, so you're technically working for a bunch of
I
different
feel
people.
that. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, when I was in college for advertising, I really fell in love with like the SEO side of things, like the web development, the social media side of things, and I just kind of went full force into that,
Very cool.
kind of
And so,
accidentally.
well, first question, are you still in the band?
No, no, I have a
Yeah.
guitar. I don't know, like whoever's watching this, you could see like back here, there's a guitar.
Yeah.
It's got dust on it. I haven't picked it up in probably like 6 months,
Well, it's because you're so passionate
sadly.
about marketing work now, so no time for
Oh,
music.
yeah. Oh, we can get into the whole like what I'm doing now with stuff and like what's taking up all my time, but I don't want to defer from your questions.
Okay. So when did you first get into, so you started learning advertising and all this stuff with the intention of supporting your band.
Yep.
What did you do when you graduated that college program? Like, did you immediately launch Hey Tony? Did you go
No.
kind of freelance and were you like, hey, I'll take on clients, or did you go work for another agency?
So between my second and third year, so it was a 3 year program. So between those years, I actually interned for one of my professors. He had a company that did SEO and social media for people. So I interned there. And while I was doing that, I got a couple clients on the side myself. So I was like kind of freelancing, kind of working at the same time while I was in school. These were like very minor clients, like a $500 one-time thing or like $1,000 one-time thing. Which at the time I was like, wow, I'm like ripping these people off. I'm not actually like creating anything physical. It's just like I built them a website. They paid me $500. I'm like, I'm getting away with murder here. But looking back, I'm like, those people got so much benefit from that $500,
Yeah.
like changed their lives, which we can talk about later as well. But um, yeah, so after college, I moved to Toronto and got an internship at Shaw Media, which is Shaw still around or is it now
I thought it was,
Chorus? Is
but
it
okay.
Chorus Shaw? Anyways, I got a internship there, unpaid for a month. And during that time, I was like, I need to get something else, need to get something else. So I ended up securing another paid internship at an agency. And after 4 months of doing that, I realized like I hate working at an agency, especially like a traditional, not traditional, but like a bigger agency.
Yeah.
Um, and I actually quit advertising altogether and went to work in film. So like driving trucks around, like just being on set all day. And I still at the time had clients on the side. So I'd have my laptop hotspotting from my phone and I'd be like working on some stuff while there's downtime, all that kind of stuff. Um, and then that kind of faded away because film work is so sporadic that I was like, I can't like pay bills and all this stuff. Like I don't know when I'm getting my next job kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to lean more into the freelance side of things. I'm going to try to get clients, all this kind of stuff. And I did that for about 4 years, where actually I'm missing a whole big part of this, but I'll come back to that in a sec. I did that for about 4 years while um, I had, what am I trying to say? What am I even talking about anymore? I'm like, I'm skipping a big part. Let me just go to that big part. So I did that for like 2 years, and then I started an online publication, which we grew to like from literally zero. I registered the domain to 4 million visitors a month organically.
What was that about?
It was an alternative lifestyle magazine, is what we called it, but it was a
Cool.
basically a blog that was like anti 9 to 5, right? So
Oh,
people
very
living in
cool.
vans, yeah, all this kind of stuff. So we did that for a couple years, and then that kind of fizzled away. But during that time, I always had a client or two on the side that I was doing freelance work for.
Yeah.
So when that faded away, I was like, okay, maybe I'll try the like traditional agency thing again. Like it's been a couple years. I did like a 4 week contract, hated it so much. I booked a 2 month trip like 2 days into that agency. I was like, I gotta like after this, I'm like gone. I'm gonna spend
Yeah.
all this money. And then while I was away, I got a couple people referring me to their friends or to other businesses being like, hey, you should hire this guy to do SEO or Google Ads or Facebook or whatever. And I
Yeah,
was like, yeah, I can do all of that. Which eventually grew over the next 2 years into I had too many clients to manage myself.
totally.
So I had to
Totally.
hire somebody. And I was like, let's make this official and just start a company.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I mean, first I want to double tap on this publication. So you said you grew it from 0 visitors a month to how many?
4 million
Four
a month.
million. That's crazy. So you were basically practicing all these marketing strategies on your own publication, how to get visibility, how to get found. I'm assuming you had ad dollars coming through that publication too, or you were making money
Yeah.
somehow.
So with the publication, the like so it's a little bit complicated the way that we set it up. So we got like investors, but the investors weren't like, here's a check for like 100 grand or something. They were just like, yeah, we're gonna see how this thing goes, and like as it grows, like you guys will get like shares in the company kind of thing.
Okay.
And there was me and a couple other people who had like pitched them,
Yeah.
and at like 3 or 4 months in, they're like, well, 30,000 views a month isn't a lot. Like you need to get more, and we need money. We need money coming in because we're spending all this money.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what happened over the holidays. One piece of content we had went viral, and it was a lot of like learning as you went because
Yeah.
most websites and most people aren't prepared for something to go viral to get a lot of traffic to their website. So I was like, cool, the server crashed. I'm like, I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to fix that. So we had to figure that out. We had ads on the website that were set up improperly, that weren't as efficient as they could be. And then, yeah, so because we're getting so much traffic, we got approached by, do you remember Google Plus?
Yeah.
So Google Plus, we were like posting all our piece of content on there.
Yeah.
Somebody from there knew about us, so we had a partnership with Google Plus. When you signed up for an account, we were one of the featured profiles. So we had a ton of followers on there, which was sick. And then like Vice reached out to us, like Vice.com, and they're like, hey, can we sell your ads? Can you be part of our ad network? We
Yeah.
did that as well. So that's where we were actually making like 30, $40,000 a month with that stuff. The problem is we were spending like 20, $30,000 a month to produce all this content,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
This is
Okay.
pre-AI. This is like we had like a larger team. We were paying all these people, and we had to output like 6 to 10 pieces of content per day.
Yeah. And so ultimately, did you just decide that this was not the business model you wanted to move forward with and you shut it down? Did you sell it?
Yeah, it kind of like fizzled a little bit. Like some of the early people on board left, and then the investors were like, well, like it takes us 120 days to get paid from Vice or from these ad networks or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and like we're still putting money into this, and we're always just playing catch up. So although we are getting like 3, 4 million people to the site a month, it just wasn't worth pursuing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Unless we were like, oh, let's sell this thing eventually. But one lesson that I learned from that I took into like when I started posting on Instagram and social media back in 2023 was the very first piece of content we had that went viral. It was like literally an article. So like on Facebook, you have the picture, you have the title, and you have a little description underneath. And we all analyzed that piece of content and we're like, why did this get like millions of views? Like the title, which like now looking back, I'm like, that's the hook. The visual, that is also like a visual hook. And then the description as well. I'm like, how does all of this tie in? Like, what did the title say? Right? Did it have a dollar amount in it? Did it have and what we found out there was a curiosity gap,
Yes, that's
right? And like that's really the hook. So
yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. When I started posting on social media, it took me a while to figure it out, but how like once something does better than other pieces of content, you're like, okay, well, why? And then you
Yeah.
start analyzing all these different factors.
Yeah, that's so cool. And I think it really reinforces the power of experimentation in marketing. It's like
Yeah.
any of us or, new business owners could sit behind the scenes and try to come up with the perfect content plan. But so often it's not until you put out like 100 pieces of content, analyze the one that did really, really well and learn for yourself. Why did that work? Did I put an emoji or like you said, a number or a dollar
Hmm.
sign and like just look at what you've done after a bunch of experimentation versus like building in private and being like, I'm going to crack the code and learn everything. It's like, no, no, no. Just post a bunch, see what goes viral or what does really well compared to your standard metrics, right?
100%. And that's running a business, right? Like you
Exactly.
don't really, you can plan all you want, but then a customer is going to come in and ask you for something that you haven't planned for. And you're like,
Yeah.
well, I guess we need to figure that out.
Totally. And kind of your journey too is like, well, you had a couple clients and then all of a sudden you had a bit more bandwidth after you left the publication business. And you're like, okay, so I'm just going to evolve now into more of an agency. So,
Yeah.
first off, where did the name Hey Tony come from? Because that's not your name, is it?
No. So my name is Matt, for everybody listening who doesn't know me. So when I was actually running that publication, I was walking to lunch one day and I overheard these construction workers, like they're the guys changing over the streetcar tracks, like their arms are as big as my head or like as big as my torso. They're like the really rugged, burly guys. And I overheard them, and then one guy goes, "Hey, Tony, you always know how to put a smile on my face." And I just thought, what a genuine expression of emotion from somebody you wouldn't expect. And I was like, that's the kind of feeling that I want to have with anybody the agency touches. Like, let's be transparent. Let's put smiles on each other's faces.
That is such a cool story. And it all stemmed from just overhearing that construction worker.
Yeah, that guy has no idea.
He has no idea. I wish you could go back and find him and be like, you inspired this.
Yeah.
That's super cool. So, what were the early days of running the agency like? Like, did you just kind of put the message out there and you got an influx of clients? Was it more like a slow build? What was that first few months like?
Oh, it was like not even first few months, first few years was like hoping we got a client come through the door because like I built
Yeah,
like a reputation not publicly but with with my clients and like with friends and other people who ran businesses and they would just refer people to me randomly, right? So it's not really a great way to run a business because you're like I might have 10 clients next month or I might have two. I don't
totally.
know. And then it's like, okay, well, what different services are we offering? Like um we're offering everything from like website design to Google Ads to this to this to this. And like what's losing us money, what's gaining us money, all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
Right. And figuring
That's
out what we actually want to do.
Yeah. And what did you want to do? Like, did you have a bit of a business plan where you're like, okay, I really want to hone in on
No,
meta ads? Or were you just kind of like, I'm a jack of all trades. I'll kind of take it all on to begin with, and we'll figure this out as we build.
it was more like my business plan was make money.
Make
That's it.
money,
Like
which should be part of your business plan, right?
that's the whole thing. There was no like advertising. There was no like we're gonna spend X amount of on whatever. It was just let me try to figure out how I can get more people paying me more money.
Yep. Yep.
That was the business plan.
Yeah. What did you find that most people were coming to you for at the time?
Well, it really depended on who was referring people. So some of it was website design. Like we built a website for like a private school and they paid us like 50 grand. And I was like, that's
Wow.
sick. Like this is really good. But then that was a whole hassle. But then on the other side, I'm like, okay, people are paying us like 2 grand a month to do SEO for like a dental practice. And I'm like, that is way easier work. And I say way easier because there's no urgency. Like their SEO isn't breaking,
Yep.
right? Their ads aren't spending money over the weekend and we need to monitor that.
Yes.
Or like we're not hosting the website. So if it goes down, like there's no urgency there. And I was like, SEO really, I'm like, that's like the golden thing.
Yeah.
Let's do
Oh,
more of that.
totally. So you've alluded to this acronym SEO. My audience is quite familiar because I often preach the importance of it. For the listener, though, who's kind of like, okay, I've heard of search engine optimization. I'm hearing that I should be found online, but
Yeah.
it's like, that sounds so hard, or I don't even know where to begin. Can you first break down, like, why are you so passionate about not only talking about this topic, but also like doing this for businesses? Why is this important?
Well, I feel like I'm very vocal about SEO and showing people how to do it themselves and at least educating them on like what work actually gets done because there's a big part of this industry. I would say most of this industry is people scamming businesses because, like you said, all these businesses know about SEO and they're like, I feel like I need to do something.
Yeah.
And then so they get an email. It's like, hey, we can help you with your SEO. And then that person never sends reports. They probably don't do anything, or they get you spammy backlinks, or they do, kind of stuff that's not above board. And you don't know because you're a business owner and your skill is at something else,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
that's the first thing. The reason why I like helping businesses do it is because like either helping them learn how to do it themselves or doing it for them, is because I believe the world is built on small businesses. And if I can help small businesses who are good people grow their business through SEO, they can hire more staff, so that creates jobs. Those people can send their kids to college. They can pour more money back into their local economies, all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm like, if I want to make the world a better place, I can do that one small business at a time.
I love that. The mission is like so much bigger than just, I'm going to get
Yeah.
you a few new leads per month. It's like, yes, that's great. And what would happen if you were able to scale your business, bring more money back to your family, support your kids with like a legacy business? Like, there's just
Yeah.
so much good that comes out of getting found on the internet.
Yeah.
Okay, so explain from a bit of a granular level for someone who's like, okay, this sounds really good. I do want to build something bigger than myself. What are some of those foundational items that someone would need to consider to basically begin ranking on a search engine? Like, what do I need to have in place so that I show up?
Okay, so there's so many things that you can do. The first thing is if you're a local business, have a Google business profile. That is your like calling card. That's what shows you up on the map. That's where people can leave reviews. That's like the legitimacy of your business. The next thing is you need a website. You can't just have a Google business profile or like an Etsy shop or whatever it might be. Like have your own website that you own because you own it. And I say you own it because you don't own your social media platforms, your social media accounts. You don't own your Etsy shop. You're kind of subject to whatever the algorithms and other people want to do. But with your website, you own that. You can control the content. Um, so you need a website and you need what we call topical authority. So when I say topical authority, I mean I want to know that you're an expert in plumbing or an expert electrician or chocolate bar maker or whatever it is. And the way that you do that is by creating content about your niche,
Hmm.
right? And when I say content, I mean blog posts. And the easiest way to do this is write blog posts answering your customers' questions.
Hmm.
That's it. Like if you hear your customers ask you a question and you hear it more than once, write it down, go to your website when you're done working for the day, or maybe if you have a break during the day or it's slow at work, and just answer that question in the form of a blog post, like 500 to 1,000 words, and that's it. Publish that.
Yeah.
Next time somebody asks you that question, you can answer it and be like, "Oh, we actually have a full detailed blog post here as well, like giving you all the information you'll ever need."
Amazing. Okay, I kind of want to double tap on each of those things. So first you said set up a Google My Business page. I want to go into the importance of reviews. So I have
Yeah.
a lot of people saying, I know I should collect reviews, but it's so hard to get customers to leave one. What are your thoughts on the importance of Google reviews as it relates to having a Google My Business page?
You need to get reviews. Like
Okay.
they are very important to do. And anybody who's like, yeah, it's hard to get somebody to leave a review and then they stop asking for reviews. I'm like, well, yeah, of course it's hard to do,
Yeah.
right? It's like, well, I don't remember to ask every customer for reviews. Like start remembering. Do something that will remind you like, okay, this transaction is complete. This person is happy.
Yep.
Hey, Fred, do you like the food you just ate? Great. Like if you leave a review here, next time you come in, like we can, give you like a 10% discount or something like that. You can't ask for a 5-star review, but you can say like if you leave a review,
Yeah.
show it next time you come in, you get X% off.
I love it. It's so simple. Just ask. Like, stop being
Just
afraid
ask.
to ask. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next thing you said, which is important for search engine optimization, which is having a website.
Yeah.
So, is it enough to just build a website, throw up some pretty pictures of me, and be like, I'm Kelsey and I love dogs, if
Yeah.
that's not my business? Like, what do I need to reasonably include in my website if I want to have a chance at ranking on search engines?
So let's say you're a service-based business. Let's say you're an electrician, right? If you do a bunch of different services, which you definitely do, you need to have a page for each one of those services,
Okay.
right? So we do panel upgrades or we do ceiling fan replacements or light fixture, like whatever that is, like each page on your website is a door to your business. And the
Love
more
that.
doors you have, to an extent, the more doors you have, the more people can walk into your business. And they're looking for something specific, right? If you're not talking about that specific thing, Google isn't going to know that you offer that service
No.
or offer that product. People aren't going to know that you do. And you want to remove the barriers for somebody to find what they want to solve their problem, right? I have a leak in my roof. I don't want to have to call and be like, "Do you fix like leaks in your roof
Yeah.
or leaks in my roof?" And um, I just want to know like roof leak repair, in 24 hours or less, guaranteed results, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I want to be able to go there and be like, cool, now I'm going to call this person. I don't want to waste my time,
Yeah.
right? There's barriers that people set up to be like, fill out the contact form, we'll contact you within 48 hours and blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, just tell me if you do it, tell me how much it is, and I'll call you if I'm interested.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's so important because most people, when they build a website, they build it with a homepage, an about page, a work with me, and a contact. Like that's
Yeah.
it, 4 pages,
Hmm.
even when they have so many services. And you're saying every page is a service, every page is a door to your business. So don't just keep a simple website forever with 4 pages only. Build it out.
Well, yeah, and like something I've been saying a lot recently because I feel like it illustrates the point is SEO is just solving somebody's problem. So
Yeah.
what I mean by that is like I have a leak in my roof. I have a couple different avenues I could go down. I can say, how do I fix a leak in my roof myself? Right? So that's a blog post, right? People can find that. That's solving their problem by showing them how to do it themselves. The next thing is like I have a leak in my roof. Like what product do I need to patch that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? The solution is, this big patch that you can just slap on your roof. I don't know. And then the last one is like, how do I hire somebody to fix the leak in my roof? And the solution is, here's my service page.
I love it. And so, what you're saying too is that having a blog is important to answer your customers' questions. So, having that blog page active on your site. I know a ton of our listeners, a ton of my clients, they're like, yeah, okay, I like the idea of having a blog. I hear what you're saying, but they just fall off the rails. Like, literally, they'll do 2 blog posts because I say it's important and then they just stop.
Yeah.
What would you tell that person, whether it's about the importance or like it's going to take consistency? Because most people are not consistent with their blog posts.
Yeah. So this is something that I do. So I have a community. We actually haven't talked about this, but I have a community called the Hey Tony Insiders. And the people in there who are seeing the most results show up once a week. We have a call. It's like a work session
Okay.
where we just write a blog post together in an hour. We use AI
Love
to help
it.
us do it, all this
Yeah.
stuff. And you can do that yourself. You don't need to be part of a membership or a group to do that. Set an hour in your calendar every week and just make sure you're committing to that. Now, I'm going to give everybody listening a prompt. And this is the same kind of thing that we use. Actually, I'm going to see if I have it written down here. I think I posted this yesterday because we did one yesterday.
Love that.
Okay. So find a question your customers are asking you,
Okay.
right? That's the number one thing. You can use a site like answerthepublic.com, or you can go on Google, type in what you sell or what you do, and look at people also ask. Or
Yeah.
just if you have questions that you've heard, write
Yeah.
them down. That's your question. So go to ChatGPT or Claude or whatever LLM you're using and say, I'm writing a blog post answering this question. Paste in the question.
Okay.
Ask me anything you need to know the answer to in order to write a blog post that is truly helpful and unique. It should include my experience, expertise, case studies, examples, opinions, etc. Keep it limited to 10 questions.
Love
Ask me them one at a time because I'll be using voice mode to answer them. Give me time to breathe as well before going to the next question because sometimes ChatGPT will
it.
be like, "Okay, great answer," and you're like, "Oh, I just took a breath. I
Yeah.
stumbled for a sec."
Yeah.
So just doing that, now you're prompting ChatGPT or Claude to ask you questions and pull information out of you, which is it's taking all your expertise and experience to and putting that into a blog post,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And most people right now, they're just going to ChatGPT and saying, "Write me a blog post answering this question." And
Yeah.
that they're just pulling generic stuff, from the internet. This way, it's like unique content. It's truly helpful. It's your ideas. AI is just helping you write it.
I love it. That's such a simple way to go about it. And I love the idea of using just your voice, like talking it out, because then it's
It's so
truly your
good.
words, right? You're not just saying, write me a blog post about 5 foods that are high protein. Because then
Yeah.
it just kind of spits out AI slop and there's no opinions. There's no like topical authority of like your own
Yeah.
choices for those foods. So I think there's like this fine line between using AI, but also making sure that your unique like thought processes are in there, right?
100%.
Yeah. And so now with SEO, it's slightly evolving into, I don't know what you call it, like this GEO, AIO. Is there anything that
EIEIO, anything. Yeah.
EIEIO? I love that. Now we're old McDonald.
Yeah.
What do we need to be thinking about if we want to start ranking or whatever we're going to call it in ChatGPT? So maybe I get, 5,000 visitors to my website. I know what my keywords are, but I'm like, is this helping me to show up on ChatGPT or do I need a different strategy? What do you think about, or how are you guiding your clients through why this is important to have like a different strategy? Or is it the same?
So it's more of the same, but slightly different. So what I mean by that is, first of all, there's all these acronyms floating around. It's all just SEO, right? They're
SEO.
all
Okay,
search
I love it.
engines. You're doing search engine optimization. One of the big changes that we've started making, at least with my agency, is instead of like, when you read like a recipe website and there's like a whole preamble before the recipe and you're like, just get to the point,
Yes.
right? That's what we need to do in our content now. It's like, how much does X service cost? X service costs $500 or $200 an hour or whatever it is, or this product costs X amount. And even with blog posts, it's like, how do I fix a leak in my roof myself? It's
Yeah.
like, if you're fixing a leak in your roof yourself, you need to do steps X, Y, and Z. So we're no longer doing like the intro paragraph where it's like, did you know 67% of all Canadian homeowners do X, Y, and Z, and then linking to like a study or something like that?
Yep.
People just want the answer. People have so much information thrown at them all day. Give them the answer because if you give them the answer, they're not going to go back to Google and then click on the next link to get the answer.
So what you're saying is just be more succinct, like no more like bullshit long paragraphs, building things out and keyword stuffing, I think they call it.
Yeah,
Yeah. So just get to the
pretty
point,
much.
answer the
Get
important questions, put it in a paragraph with 300 words versus 30,000.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like the thing is like you can get into more detail and you should on that specific topic. Like, yeah, here's how to fix the hole in your roof, like in bullet point form or whatever. But
Yeah.
then you could say like, okay, well, there's some other considerations you might have when doing this, right? Like what kind of shingles do you have? Should you replace your whole roof? Like what like and then get into more detail because if somebody's like, okay, I got my answer, it's like, oh wait, but I might have more questions and you want them
Yeah.
to stay on your page.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So if somebody wants to maybe be better at search engine optimization, obviously they can like come over to your Instagram and learn a bunch of cool tips. But do you support them beyond that? So obviously tell like you have agency services, but you're also kind of teaching DIY. So if somebody's like leaning in, what are you offering to them to help them get this process furthered along in a easier, faster, more lucrative way?
Okay, so yes, with all my social content, like I have had people just watch that and
Yeah.
take everything, string it together, make their own strategy, and get a ton of traffic to their websites.
Yeah.
The other thing is, like, I also wrote a book called Get Found,
Okay.
which shows you literally if you don't know anything about SEO, you can read this. It's in plain English, it's not technical, and it takes you from I don't know anything to okay, I know more to okay, now I have a strategy that I can do on my website and you can actually understand this stuff.
Yeah.
And I actually talk about one guy in the book who took all the videos that I post on social media and made a strategy himself, like based
Cool.
on my strategy, and got a ton of traffic.
Love
And
that.
I'm like, this is the same stuff that I'm talking. I basically took my social media videos, put them into a book, like easier to understand. Um, and yeah,
I
that's
love
like
it.
that's the first line of support.
Cool. And then obviously you do this for clients on a retainer basis through the agency.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. So if people have a budget, great. They can hire us to do this for them. If they don't have a budget, like I also have a community where people do SEO themselves. They're all like small business owners, photographers, or
Yep.
whatever business. And they're like, I have time, but I don't have the budget. So they
Yeah.
can do it themselves.
Absolutely. Very cool. And I will say your social media content is super helpful. I did see a post that I'm interested in just asking you about. It's a post of you meeting Gary Vee, and you said
Yeah.
like if he didn't inspire you to get your first video up, you might never have gone full steam. Can you just take us back to like, yeah, how did Gary inspire you? Give us the lowdown.
Okay, so this goes back to 2023. Up until that point, like January 2023, I was a referral only business.
Okay.
And as business owners, we're like, I need to know like what next month or next quarter or next year is going to be like. And I was
Yeah.
like, I can't really predict anything. I don't know if I'm going to need more employees, less employees, or if I'm going to be able to go on that trip or pay my bills or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I was reading a lot of business and marketing books and anything I get my hands on. And so I read two books like right back to back. One was called The One Thing, which basically it's like what's one thing you can do every single day that will lead you to being able to achieve your 1 year, 5 year, 10 year goal, whatever that is, personal, financial,
Oh,
business, whatever it is, health wise.
yep.
And so I read that book and then I was like, what is one thing? I don't know what one thing is that I can do every single day. And then I read Gary Vee's book, Jab, 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 Right Hook, which is all about social media and how it's free and how if you just post every single day,
Yeah.
that will lead to growing a following and a more sustainable business, all this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, perfect. That's one thing that I can do every single day, post videos on social media. Up till that point, I wasn't even on social media. So if we go back to my agency days, like I was working on Facebook for like big brands and I hated it so much. Like I just got off social media personally for like
Yeah.
5, 6, 7 years, whatever it was. So when I joined Instagram in 2023, I was like, what happened to IGTV? What is this Reels? Right. And
Totally.
my wife's like, where have you been? Like you work in marketing. And I was like, yeah, but I don't use these platforms. So I was starting at like the very beginning.
Yeah.
And yeah, so when I read these two books, I also like started finding out more about like Alex Hormozy and like some of these other influencers who are like just post every single day. And I
Yeah.
was like, these guys are all saying this thing. I'm like, I'm either going to prove them right or prove them wrong. I'm going to give myself a year. I'm going to post every single day.
I
And if
love
it
it.
works, great for me. If it doesn't work, at least I could be like, you know what? That's bullshit. It doesn't
Yep.
work.
Yep. And you went for it. And are you still posting every single day?
Oh yeah.
Oh
It
my
like
God.
it drives my business. It drives the
Yeah.
agency. It drives like the my email list. Like it drives every part of it.
Incredible. And for you, maybe this is like a obvious question, but like, how are you getting content ideas? Are you like looking at your top performing blogs? Are you just listening to customer questions? Are you reflecting on this conversation and going, oh my God, now I have a new idea? How do you come up with a daily social post?
It seems harder than it actually is. And what I mean by that is when I first started, it would take me like 4 hours to come up with like a 30-second video saying internal links are very important because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh, that's a really cool topic. Like it could be something from this conversation, or it could be I was talking to somebody on my team, or somebody on my team sent me like, hey, I tried this new strategy and it's really working. Like I can then go talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
Or I'll see somebody else post about something and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Let me try that out. I'm like, oh, this actually works in this other application as well. Let's talk about
Yes.
that as it relates to SEO. So
Cool.
you kind of have to be looking for stuff. And now like I can make a video in like 5, 10 minutes, like
Yep.
from not having an idea to having a finished video posted.
Honestly, and I think that's what we all need to hear is that it gets faster. It's gonna be a slog when you haven't posted a reel before. Yeah, it's gonna take you 2 hours. Try to make it quicker, but if not, just know that every time you create one, you get better, you get faster, your brain starts to think in content ideas.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna be like a natural born, I create every video in 2 minutes. Like, but you'll get there if you're consistent.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like it's a muscle. And I don't batch my content. A lot of people are like, just spend a day or two a month and like make your videos for the entire month and all this stuff. And I'm
Yep,
like, what if the first video that you did is wildly different than all the other ones? And
totally.
that one goes viral, and all of a sudden, all the other ones aren't going to do well. And
Yeah,
they might, but like they probably won't. So it's like now you have to wait a month to try to recreate that video for another topic or in
yep,
another location or another thing. So you can't really iterate as fast. But if you're doing it every single day, multiple times a day, you can iterate like infinitely.
exactly.
Does
I
that make
love that.
sense?
I'm kind of with you. Like, I just like to show up on the day of and be like, okay, what's flowing today based on the data that I have from yesterday.
Yeah.
So, I think it's about knowing yourself and are you better doing batch creation and you'll actually get it done that way? Or can you just kind of show up and tune into your audience each day and see what they need?
I think one thing, like what you just said, like just getting it done for the month, like it's not getting it done. That's not like the thing is like it's not something you should check off your list. It's something
True.
that like this can drive your business. This can make you millions of dollars or hundreds of
Yep.
thousands, whatever you want to do, or even like as a side gig, like 10 grand or whatever a year.
Yeah.
Like whatever you put into it is like what you can get out.
So true. So true. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for divulging so much of your backstory, how you got into this, a little bit more about your services, the book. We will plug that in the show notes
Hell
as
yeah.
well. I have to get myself a copy. I can't wait to read it, so I'm really excited.
Listen,
But yeah, where best places for people to connect with you? Would you say Instagram?
all over the internet. If you just
All
type in
over.
Matt Diamante or Hey Tony, like on any social network, I am there. I'm posting videos every single day.
Yeah, and I'm sure that your search engine status is optimized if we type in your name or your business
Yeah,
name, so
it'll
you're
come
easy
up.
to find. Amazing. Matt, thank you so much for sharing your story on the Rain or Shine podcast. We really appreciate you and would encourage everyone to go check out your work and inquire with you if they're looking for some services to be done for them, hands off, and just have a little bit more ease behind their marketing strategy. So thank you so much, and we wish you all of the best.
Thank you for having me.